Well, I'm trying on my Russian accent so I can,
I thought it was a Chinese. I thought it was a Chinese Communist Party accent.
Oh, no, the one I like the best from the Far East is the woman North Korea anchor. You ever seen the anchor woman for North Korea news?
I can't say I have, no, but
Oh, you ought to see it. It's perfect. Like she just like just
you
like
mean the world's troubles are on her shoulders?
no, she's just like so super enthusiastic about how well the North Korea has done, and this is what's happened to us, and this is how the great leader is fixing it, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's all in Korean, so I don't know exactly what she's
You
saying,
don't know anything. Yeah, you haven't a clue as to what's being said.
but it sure sounds
You just know it's enthusiastic propaganda.
enthusiastic overacting.
But propaganda.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody to Talking Niagara. Okay, so I can't help thinking this first article, which we got from yesterday, Ontario drivers can face devastating financial hit with basic insurance. I can't help but an article that was put into the newspapers by the insurance industry to say, hey, don't get your basic insurance.
Yeah, it was kind of alarming there. Like if basically it kind of sounds like if you get basic insurance, it's a waste of time. You're going to lose your car. You're not going to be able to afford another one if you get in a major accident.
Yeah,
where your car's written.
Well, they're using an example in here of a car purchased. Okay, so in this example, a driver who purchased a car outright in 21 for $40,000 would be responsible to pay the vehicle value at the time of theft. So $29,000 would be the insurance company. So if you're doing basic liability, you'd pay out $29,000 in order to get a replacement car, right? Plus a car rental.
I'm trying to find that North Korean woman, but I can't find her in the anchor desk. I can only find her in little videos. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Car insurance.
Car insurance.
Well, I should say, I think this one is basically, it's saying to you, buy comprehensive with collision and endorsements, because that same $40,000 car, you'll get significantly more back. Well, you still get the same net payout of $25,900, but it's going to hurt you less.
Yeah, I've had now
if you got money owing on the car.
Yeah, so basically, I've been in a couple of accidents where my car's been wiped out. Two.
Yeah.
Two accidents where my car's being written off. Now the trick there is they're going to kind of delay your payout, and they're going to suggest to you a figure that you're going to get, and they say according to the book value, blah blah blah. This is what we can give you.
Yeah, but it's not the actual book value because they're giving you a car with a value. I don't know. Say you've got a 3-year-old car. It's done 40,000 kilometers, and they're going to give you a value that's probably 2/3 of what it actually is valued at.
Okay, so basically, I've had two cars and I've gone through this twice. And what the insurance company is going to do is going to offer you up a quick settlement on it. This is how much we're going to give you. Don't take it.
Yeah.
Don't take it. Say that you want more. And they'll say, oh, well, we can't give you any more. We can't, we can't, whatever. And you say, oh, yeah, you can. I add some more onto it. You'll be able to decorate. They'll come up in price, and they're going to use tricks like Well, you could have got the money now, but now I'm going to go on vacation for 3 weeks. I won't be back for 3 weeks, so we can't settle us for 3 weeks. That happened twice to me. Twice to me. The different guy said, "Oh well, you can wait if you want, but I'm going on vacation for 3 weeks."
Yeah, and do you know what my response on that one is? You should be.
Well, my response was, "Okay, I'll see you in 3 weeks."
Well, and actually, I would say the other thing you should be saying is, and in the meantime, during that 3 weeks while you're on vacation, I shall be going to speak with getting legal advice. Whether you do or not is another thing. But you should shop around. You should talk to somebody because
okay. Well, let me finish the story then.
Yeah,
so they twice they tried that. Well, the first time I just say, okay. Well, when I heard it the second time, I understood that it was a bluff. So the guy was not going to budge the first time, but he said to me, well, yeah, we can give you another $1,000 or $1,500 because I noticed you're not using the feature of the insurance where you can rent a car. Well, I didn't even know that, and I wasn't going to rent a car anyway because I'd been in a car accident where I was sort of not going to be able to drive for at least a few weeks anyway.
Yeah,
and so they'll try any kind of little bullshit trick, but the fact is, like, you may want to go for legal advice, but if you can't afford it, just kind of hold out, yeah. See what they get. Look your own book value up too. Look up your own car. You've got a Toyota Prius 2015, whatever, and you figure out what you think it might be worth, and read your.
And I'd also say put an extra 1,500 to 2,000 on top of that.
Yeah. So don't go with the initial offer.
Yeah.
They'll be really nice, and they'll say stuff like, "I've got to go on vacation," or "it won't be settled for 2 or 3 weeks," and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of it's rubbish. Any case, yeah, be very careful what kind. Like, number one, liability. You want to make sure you have enough liability, because if you do get an accident that's your fault, and sometimes you can be at fault and not be a bad driver. You just get into situations where you make the wrong decision and you're at fault.
Yeah, but again, if somebody hits you from, if you manage, say there's a pile up on the highway and you manage to avoid it, but somebody slams in behind you, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but my point is, you can get into a situation where, even though technically you're liable, you haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
But even if you did, you want enough liability, because you do not want your a liability insurance to pay off any lawsuit that may come out after you, because that can make a big difference to your life moving forward. I've heard of people that decided not to have insurance, got in accidents, and they had their house taken away from them and all that. So I'm not so sure how often that happens anymore, but I'm talking about back when I was a kid, and they actually took people's property away because they got into an accident and they hurt people bad enough, that.
Well, yeah, but if you didn't have life insurance, if you didn't have car insurance, that's exactly what could happen, because they could come after you for millions of dollars.
Well, my point is to make sure you have enough insurance.
Yeah.
Enough insurance. Make sure you have enough insurance to cover a liability.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to be said about that?
Also ask your insurance agent or broker to really break it down, how much you're going to get for what.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the paper trail is broken up too. I used to get renewals of my insurance, and I could read it all out right there on a nice piece of paper. Blah blah blah. What is what? What is what? Now it's all electronic. So try to dig into that and figure it out. I don't know. So you got to be very, very careful what you have in your insurance. You make sure that you are insured, you have enough liability, and that if somebody does steal your car, for instance, that you're going to get enough money back. You won't be, the deductible is not going to put you in the poorhouse.
Well, on most things nowadays, the deductibles are $1,000, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how much it is. Yeah, probably for a nicked car, be about 10,000. It depends on how much your car's worth. I guess.
Yeah. No, actually, I think the deductible on my insurance is $1,000.
Yeah, I think it's all gone up to 2,000 now. I think I'm not sure, but anyway.
Well, and there was a time, for the longest time, I have to say that deductible used to be about $500.
Yeah. Well, those days are long gone. Those days are long gone.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah. In my condo here, we have building insurance. Each one of us has insurance for the building itself, or anything might go wrong with the building.
Yeah.
Your own private stuff is you.
Yeah, but the point
that earlier, but the building itself. So, but if say you have a water leak or something like that, still the deductible on that is $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to have a catastrophic event really for it to pay off.
Yeah. I was going to say in some of those sort of things, if you had, like, let's say a part of a plane fall on the roof, enough to destroy the roof, enough to cause a fairly big leak, it's the insurance of all of the, condo unit owners that would club together to repair that roof, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the condo corporation basically.
They would have insurance.
Yeah, and you got to watch out too. Like, we got a pretty good one here. I've been a part of it, but anyway, let's not get too far off track here. But insurance just have to be make sure you understand your policy, and make sure you got enough liability. And if they're saying that if your car gets nicked, you might really put you on the back heel financially. So make sure everything's covered.
What bothers me
that if something does happen, that you're not going to be put in a position where you can't replace your car, because with deductible and all other things, you might not have enough money to.
Well, what bothers me about insurance is I went and did the hunt last year. So I looked this up, and I found a company that would give me $100 less per month on my car insurance. All right. The trick to this was that then, because everything's combined, my home insurance would have been $150 more through that company.
So they just flip it.
Yeah. So basically, you're saving the $100 on your car insurance, or you're losing $100 on your home insurance. So, like, what was the point? All right. And that's one of the reasons why, for example, in UK, we have specialist car insurance providers, you have specialist home insurance providers, and you don't have companies that combine the two.
Well, here they can bundle it. You don't have to bundle it. You can ask for it to be apart, but they'll bundle it here, and they'll say you're going to get a discount if you bundle it. If you put your house insurance and your car together, your house insurance will cost X amount. I think it's pretty hard to do any shopping because they all do the same thing.
Yeah. And that's the problem, is that, I should be able to unbundle and save money.
Yeah. I know somebody put up GM there, so we should pretty much go on, move on to something else
Good
here.
morning, Mike's saying good morning, right?
Yeah.
As is Betty, and of course Mike said morning first of all, right? Okay, so
Yeah, so I just like I saw somebody put up GM there, and I think they're talking about the GM closure at Ingersoll.
we can move on to that in a while, but I was going to continue the story. Yeah, I was going to continue with the Chinese Communist Party one next. If you,
Yeah, okay. I put up one about the Communist Chinese Party because we rarely know what's going on there, and to give you kind of an idea that right now, like if you look at communist parties in general, the Stalinist regime, uh, Lenin, Stalin, all the different leftist and right wing dictators basically go through a period of purging. Hitler did it. The Night of the Long Knives, 1934, was a good example of that. But of course, his purges meant a bullet in the head, same as Stalin's. But in China, they're doing the same thing. Every once in a while, when you have a dictatorial leader, you have to go through a purge. Even your most trusted lieutenants, you cannot be 100% sure that they're going to be behind you 100%. So you wipe the slate clean. Now, what's happening in China right now is Xi has got rid of 9 very important generals, most of which he himself initiated or was very close, very much a part of their advancement through the ranks.
Yeah.
Now they're going. The real question is here, who else is behind it?
Well, I was going to say the point about this is that you actually don't, in a situation like the Chinese Communist Party, as the chairman of that, you don't really want a strong military. You want a military that's strong enough. But if you've got generals that have been there for dozens of years who know what they're doing, that's the last thing you actually need, because in fact those generals might well turn against you.
Well, the point is here that these are Xi's generals that he's moved up into prominent positions, and then he is now eliminating. Now, is it Xi? There is a now when I'll sideline a bit. Like when Trump put out the 145% tariffs earlier in the year, and he's going to try 100% later this month, it looks like, they were very sure that the Chinese government was in a little bit of disarray and the economy was faltering a little bit. That's why they tried to get that game. It didn't work on him, it backfired, and he had to chicken out. But I'm not so sure as much as chicken out as it's their bluff did not work. And the Chinese called their bluff. But one of the things that might have caused this to happen is indications that there's cracks developing in the Chinese power structure. There is lots of speculation that this is not just a Xi purge. It is somebody else involved here, and that the Communist Party, the party, is not being too pleased with Xi at the moment. They're kind of balking at the idea that he can be a leader for life, and that there might be real strains in the Communist Party right now. So this purge, we don't know whether this purge. It is assumed that Xi took all his guys that he's promoted, then got rid of them to replace them with new guys he likes. Is a typical dictatorship type purge that we see in fascist and communist countries.
Yeah. That happens with almost every dictatorship, because they don't want too strong a military, because the military can often take over in a military junta.
No, they want a strong military, but they want to control it.
Yes.
That's the difference. If anyone knows anything about Russian history, Zhukov, the famous general that defeated Hitler on the Eastern Front, he didn't do what Stalin told him. He didn't show up for appointments with Stalin, that kind of thing, because he knew that Stalin would try to purge him or arrest him or get rid of him. So Zhukov was able to stay powerful, and by ignoring Stalin's orders. And there's nothing Stalin could do because he had enough power to balance it off. In this particular case, what I'm saying is, yeah, this is very typical for a dictator to make a purge like this, but we don't know the source of this purge. And that is the question here. Is it Xi purging his own guys, which wouldn't be unusual, or is it someone else? Is it the head of the military that's doing this? Is it a hedge on Xi's power? Is it somebody else getting rid of these generals to weaken Xi, or is it Xi getting rid of these generals because that's what dictators do every once in a while? They just purge whoever it is, just to keep them fresh. So that's my point, is that we don't really follow Chinese politics too much. We have a kind of microscope over the Western politics, particularly right now in the United States, and how goofy it is down there. But strange things are happening in China right now. So it might be a real interest to see what's going on there, whether Xi will maintain power or will his power be reduced, and who will be his heir apparent. That's also very important. And the weaknesses and structures in the Chinese government may have a lot to do with how the U.S. is playing the trade tariff game. We find the Chinese have switched switched the incentive of the sort of the blackmail incentive. The U.S. tried to blackmail the Chinese economy by saying we'll put 145% on it, right? And now the Chinese are going, you're going to get no rare earth minerals. We're in control of that. Tough bananas. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We don't know. It's very, very interesting. Things may change in China, but I doubt it, but possibly.
Yeah, things are likely to change in China in some way or other. Yeah, I don't know. We shall see what happens. Okay, so moving on to
it's just the number 2 economy in the world. Is very important for you might deride the Chinese economy, but it's important for the world economy.
Oh, it is. It is important for the world economy. Yeah, it's an absolute. And given how important it is from the manufacturing viewpoint, absolutely, we have to keep our eye on China these days.
Yeah,
there was a time when who cared about China? It was forgotten, right? But not anymore.
Well, with their powerful economy and their powerful military, and there seems to be some evidence of destabilization or a power shift. So we have to watch that pretty carefully.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on. GM is ending the electric vehicle production at Ingersoll.
That's too bad. I've had a couple of good jobs in Ingersoll. I had a worked with the contractors. I was in Ingersoll and Woodstock, just down the road from it. So I had a couple of good jobs in the Ingersoll plant. Now they have a electric van that they're going to not produce anymore, at least not here in Ingersoll.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're. It sounds as if they're going to discontinue it entirely, but I'm not so sure if they might not shift the production down to the U.S.
Well, they're not mentioning that, are they?
No, they're just. They say they're not going to build it here.
Yeah.
It's called the Bright Drop van.
Yeah.
where
And
Bright Drop was
it's
built.
a electric vehicle, and basically it's about 1,000 jobs at the moment in Ingersoll that are affected by this. And they're saying, CAMI plant, which was retooled.
That's Cami. It goes under the name of Cami, the Cami plant.
Yeah.
Anybody out there that's worked in the building trades would know Cami right off the bat.
But it was retooled for Bright Drop 2 years ago, and now faces an uncertain future because obviously that retooling of any plant takes a while, doesn't it?
It's also the demand for electric vehicles, and we see in the United States that I think the auto companies are taking their nod from the president, who seems to have a rather distaste for electric cars, even though Musk gave him an electric car, but he usually promotes more combustion engine type cars. And I think because the United States is set up more for combustion cars, that he kind of wants to promote them, which I think probably the electric vans and things like that are not yet priced low enough to compete with combustion vehicles.
Yeah.
If you don't get some sort of incentive or kickback from the government.
Yeah, and that's the point, is that in order to actually compete, it's like, well, I've got my gas van, it does so many kilometers, I know the expenses on it, and now I've got my electric van. What's the deal there? But the price at the driving off the showroom needs to be around about the same, and the trouble is it's not, because it's like 10 or 20% higher for the equivalent electric van.
Yeah. So right now I see more and more electric cars, but the incentives are coming off of them. So the rebates and things like that are coming off. And in the United States, it's drill baby drill. So the current administration is more focused on the typical type of car. But in any case, whatever kind of car it is, the administration in the United States is trying to poach every job it can from Canada. Instead of creating more jobs and more opportunity, they're going their first stage is to poach those jobs, is to steal them, basically.
But GM are saying that they're only pausing production, not shutting down. But
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It doesn't look good. I think there's about 11 or 1,200 employees there that are affected.
Yeah. Well, they'll essentially be laid off, and that's the end of their jobs, right?
Well, yeah. In the bigger scheme of things, I think GM will move production into the United States if it has to dodge tariffs. Now, the reason why the tariffs, and they're illegal tariffs by any stretch of the matter, but when you're the biggest guy in the park and he says, this is my ball, whether it's anyone else's ball or not, it doesn't matter. The fact is that they're poaching jobs. They in order to endear themselves to the American public and to bring more jobs into the United States, the first and easiest thing they can do is poach the jobs from their neighbors in the NAFTA agreement, and suddenly say the NAFTA agreement no longer works. We don't like it here, we don't like it there. So they don't have to stand by the NAFTA agreement because they're the biggest one. If they don't want to stand by it, that's all up to them.
But there's basically two things at play, according to GM. They've overestimated how quickly electric vehicle delivery vans like Bright Drop would be adopted. And with the changing US, there's a portion of that which is tariff related.
Yeah, I think more of it has to do with tariffs rather than the electric. We are in a kind of uncertain economic times recently, and if things were normal, the electric car would gradually be introduced more and more as a combustion car buggy was introduced over horses years ago.
Yeah.
It'll hit a point where it kind of plods along and then it will accelerate. But because of the cost of it, because it's relatively new technology for most people, and because we have these tariff things going on, and because we were behind 25 years ago, North America was way ahead of everybody, but they axed the program because it wasn't going to make them as much money as combustion engine, which made them fall farther and farther behind. And that's why the Chinese can produce cars, even if they were in a fair market. The Chinese could produce a better, faster, reliable electric car than we can, because we should have been 20 years ahead of them, but because we got stupid, or, well, actually executives wanted more money quarterly, they pushed off the development of electric car. Now we got to catch up. Now, also, we have the additional problem of power resources, AI demanding more and more power, and that has pushed up the price of power in the United States quite a bit. So the average person in the States now is paying more for power, and it looks like it's not going to let up. It's going to get more and more. And why do you want to plug in your car, basically, when your power price is so high? So there's a lot of factors here.
Well, power prices, you see, inevitably, I've often wondered about this one, because if you're an electric car, and right now, it's not about right now. Probably you could go plug in your Tesla at home, and your cost of running that Tesla is probably massively less than filling up the equivalent car in gas, right? But in the future, that won't be so, because, as you said, rising price of electric.
Yeah, if the evolution of the electric car was allowed to go the way it should have, instead of being interrupted by market forces. I mean, we had the Volt. Of course, the whole idea of all those electric cars getting chopped up and thrown, like, GM did not want that technology to come out, because they made a lot more money on combustion fuel-driven cars. You could see that when electric cars were first starting to get pretty popular, about 15, 20 years ago, when Teslas were coming out, people were destroying them. Auto workers were vandalizing them, because they felt that it meant that as soon as they got in, there's going to be a lot less workers on the line, which is true. So they're being vandalized. So, but the fact is that we artificially retarded the development of these cars, and the Chinese went ahead and just kept moving along, caught up, and surpassed us. If we had allowed the evolution of the electric car to go as it should have, then we would have been, most of us would be driving electric cars now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, you see, the thing is that there's a Chinese electric car that sounds pretty exciting, which they were talking about putting on the market in North America at around about 10,000 US. And
well, that was the BDP, I think it was, where the BDP or the BDF, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know the model number. And even if it were just a basic vehicle, and you were to utilize it for going to work, for example, that would save the average family a lot of money.
Well, you would think so, but the obvious thing too is I'm trying to find that. I asked for Chinese electric car. What do I get? Volkswagen.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, BYD. That's it. BYD. So BYD is a very prolific. Their cars are up to and maybe even surpassing Teslas right now, and they can produce them and put them in our market very cheap. The problem is, of course, all their industries are subsidized. The government has got behind it. So how do you fairly regulate this? We are now in a quandary right now in Canada where China says, well, we don't want your canola oil anymore. We're going to put 100% tariff on that unless you remove the 100% tariff on Chinese cars that are coming into Canada. Canada put 100% tariff on Chinese cars. The reason why I did it is to go into lockstep with Biden's boycott or tariff on them, but it's also to protect Canadian investment in electric cars. You're not playing fairly. So you're going to have some kind of tariff on the Chinese car to make it fairly priced here. 100%, I don't know. So right now we're in a situation where the Chinese says, well, we don't want your canola oil anymore. So you better, if you remove the tariff on the cars, we'll remove the tariff on the canola oil and buy as much as you can produce, as well as canola meal and other things that they use.
Yeah, I can actually imagine if that car was available at, let's say, in the 10 to 20,000 bracket, I can imagine that some people would actually have that car just as a run around town type car, even though it's built for much more than that.
No, it's a full operational thing, and if you want to run around the city car for your wife, or if she's a stay-at-home mom, or you got a kid, you can get any kind of beater for that. Electric beater, I don't know. You could do that if you wanted to, but
I could perceive go pick one up and use it as my daily work vehicle.
Yeah, well, only because it's more efficient. Maybe that's it. But what people don't understand about electric cars most of the time when they think of it, it's a much more efficient use of power. So something like an electric car is going to take over. People talk about hydrogen hybrids. We already have a lot of hybrid cars right now where it's battery and combustion. Every time I come to a corner and the light turns green, I can hear the engines around me start up. That's because they've been idling on battery.
I also noticed that I think people turn their cars off.
No, they don't. No. Have you ever been in a hybrid car? Have you ever been driving around in a hybrid car?
I've been in a Prius. It doesn't make a sound when it's kicked off because it starts on electric and then runs the motor in afterwards.
No, I've been in.
Prius starts that way. I've been in.
Well, okay, a Prius maybe, but all the other electric cars, hybrids I've been into, the engine deliberately goes on, and usually at a stop when you start from at a light. So if you're in it and they put down the accelerator, then the engine kicks in to recharge the battery. So they're not shutting off the car for all those people aren't shutting off their car and starting it at the same time just for one lousy light.
Yeah, well, I've seen a lot.
They'll shut it off for a train, maybe, but
I've seen a lot of people shut them off, even on lights, because I've heard people actually crank the thing.
Well, I don't know why they're doing that, because they'll probably use up more energy by doing that. If they shut off, I can see if you shut off the car for a long train, but if you shut it off just for a light,
for a long train,
traffic light, you're probably using more power, energy to restart the car.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
But in any case, I don't think that's very common.
Well, no, when I used to walk down on several traffic, I had about 3 sets of traffic lights when I walked to work, and it was common, the startup, and they were talking about gas cars, not hybrids.
Here in North America?
Here in Canada, yes, here in Canada. It's what people are doing today.
I don't think so.
I do. I've seen it.
I don't. I mean,
And they are gas cars. They're not electric.
I do a lot of walking, and I've never noticed anything. The only thing I notice is when a car is already running and the light changes, and then I can hear somewhere in the first 3 or 4 feet or 5 feet, the engine kicking in to recharge the battery. When I'm with my buddy in his car, that's how it behaves. So he drives along and the engine kicks in, and quite often at the corner. But in any case, let's move on to something else. We can argue about that some other day.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So moving on. There was an Amber Alert yesterday. By golly, that Amber Alert set every frigging phone off in the company. It triggered my one, went first, and then everyone boom, 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 all the way down the firm. Amber Alert, but the girl was found safe. And what happened is there was a fatal shooting in Brampton, and then the guy was found in Fort Erie, I believe.
He came down to the Niagara region. When I was looking at it, I don't know if they got him yet. They actually caught him. He took the child. Didn't he take the child and put it with?
No, well, the article is saying the father is now wanted. He wasn't at the address in Fort Erie that they had for him.
Well, didn't he drop the child off with family?
Yeah, he dropped it off to family members. Yeah.
So anyway, this is typical. It's just one more alarm. There are less of them these days, it seems, because they're not giving you the alarm for Thunder Bay, which they used to. Remember, they put the alarms out and
that was
somebody
ridiculous.
from Sault Ste. Marie or
I would even say
or something like that.
I would also say to you that, hey, if my phone's been sat at my desk for the last 2 hours and hasn't moved an inch, why am I getting that Amber Alert?
Yeah, I don't know.
Even if there was an incident in St. Catharines, for example, if I'm sat at my desk, me getting that Amber Alert doesn't make a damn bit of difference, because likelihood is I'm not about to go see this person driving by.
Well, they don't know you individually, obviously, but because they knew the guy was in this area, they wanted as many eyes as possible out there, so even if you stepped out of your office for a breath of fresh air and saw, the red car or whatever the guy was driving.
But I'm just saying, your car, every 20 seconds, this device pings the tower. The tower knows whether this device is moving or not.
So your point?
Right. My point is, if you're not moving, you've been sat in it's been sat in the same spot for 2 hours. Why are we getting an Amber Alert? Because you can't see anything anyway.
Well, I can't tell you that.
Yep, I know. Anyway, no about it. But anyway, the point being is, yes, it had a local impact this time because this person was known to have been in Fort Erie. But it was tied to a shooting in Brampton, and a woman is dead after this shooting anyway. Presumably,
more and more guns. Yeah. I just I don't know that we had another story in here about gun violence in Hamilton.
Well, that was actually the next one. It was actually a spray of bullets with assault rifles in the aftermath of an incident in Hamilton. Yeah.
So the reason I think it's important for this particular article is to demonstrate the more and more armed, the more and more firearms available to the criminal sector of Ontario, Southern Ontario. it was very rare to get what is termed an assault rifle. Now, in the United States, they call assault rifle a semi-automatic, something that looks like an assault rifle. They never really do define that very well. But in real terms, an assault rifle is an automatic. But it doesn't, in this particular case, I don't know if it's an automatic or a semi-automatic, but it's still a strange weapon or an unusual weapon to be used in criminal activity in Canada. Handguns, there's been plenty of handguns, and there's been more and more of them. But when you start bringing in rifles like the AR-15 type rifle into the mix, then what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a lot more damage happening, because when these guys start shooting at each other, they don't care who else is going to get shot. And the amount of bullets in this particular incident was enormous, and bullets were found.
And they're high capacity
meters away in an apartment.
And these are high capacity. These bullets are coming from high capacity magazines that contain 30 or more bullets. So you take the whole magazine out and slot a new one in, and then you can just start spraying 30 more bullets in the area.
So it's just amazing. How many bullets these things can pull out. And an AR-15, I don't know if you've ever heard a description of what happens to a child when somebody goes into one of the schools and shoots it up with the AR-15. The bullet does. It's a small bullet of extreme velocity. It is a most sickening thing that I've ever heard. And I think the reason why they were describing it was to make it very clear to the people who are insisting on the Second Amendment rights without any kind of restrictions or any kind of sort of red flagging or any background sort of check before people buy them. They're talking to people like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk said, the Second Amendment is essential, and it's unfortunate that a few people are going to have to die because of it. That's the price we have to pay. That was his words. And he was one of those people who paid that price, ironically. The fact of the American style ideas of guns coming up into Canada is a bad, bad thing. And if we don't tighten up that border and get these guns off the road, there's going to be more and more incidents where innocent people are killed. And
this was so there were 2 assault rifles used in a downtown Hamilton ambush, and that's the types of these high capacity magazines that contain 30 bullets or more. And that's the danger that they face, and you can eject the magazine. Eject and replace the magazine in seconds.
It's the reason why it's such an important article is for that reason, is because of the availability of this kind of weapon for crime members now. When they have a spray out like that, innocent people get killed. I remember the 15-year-old girl got shot right where I had been a lot of times on Yonge Street. She was walking down the street, and 2 gangs got at it and started shooting at each other. Of course, they missed each other, but they managed to kill a young woman. And when you've got firepower like this, those incidences are going to grow. These guys have no consideration to any stray bullet that they may find an innocent person.
Oh yeah, I know. All right. Anything?
You see, some were 250 meters away from the 250 meters. Yeah, that's where they found them.
Well, in fact,
it gives you the number here too somewhere.
In fact, with some of these bullets that come out, some of these guns, they're high velocity and they're meant for deadly force in an armed conflict situation. So yeah, you know, it's not surprising that they are that deadly.
Well, they've got a capacity magazine that has at least 30 rounds in it.
Yeah.
You know, and then they could just change out the magazine, so they could throw out 30 bullets in a few seconds, and then just throw in another magazine and away you go again.
Yep. All right.
There's even a shotgun in here too. But anyway, my point is, like, we're gonna have to become more strict with our gun, those criminals that use guns. This is not I'm not talking about taking the guns off the road, out of the hands of people who are responsible owners of guns. I'm talking about getting down to the nitty gritty, getting down to the criminal. If a criminal has a handgun, they go into jail for at least 2 years just for owning it. If they use it in a crime, 5 years. They took away that stuff for some dumb reason, and I believe all that has to come back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Rents fall in Niagara following the national trend. Canadian rents have fallen by 3.2% during September compared to the year prior. And monthly rentals.ca rent report includes 60 cities across Canada has recorded year-over-year declines for rents for 12 consecutive months. Niagara region's major urban centres also rank amongst some of the most affordable in Canada now, and certainly in Ontario. Welland is ranked as the second most affordable major city in Canada's largest province after Sarnia.
Oh yeah, well, Welland, the city of the anchovy pizza, the anchovy only pizza. Yes, well, Welland is special. You know, Welland is special. The
only thing about Welland is there any jobs down there, right?
Yeah, you notice the rents are dropping. I believe overall that's a good thing. However, I think that the damage has already been done. They got pushed up higher than they should have ever been, and they might be dropping now and correcting a bit, but they still aren't low enough for the average person. It's I think even though it's fallen by 3.2%, I don't think it's enough yet. I think the discouragement that's happened in Niagara, I mean, the overall sort of malaise of people who can't afford a place, who's got to stay with their moms and dads as long as they can, and all that. I don't think the sort of psychological damage to the area has been overcome yet. Yeah. I think that that kind of sort of feeling of desperation, that no matter what you do, you can't get ahead kind of idea. Although the rents are coming down, they're going to have to come down, I think, significantly more to fit the average income of
for
this
example, area. Okay, so just a couple of examples. One bedroom unit in Niagara Falls is now average price is $1,694, down 1.9% from September a year ago. A 2-bedroom unit is $2,054, which is down 1.3% from August, and 0.9% from September 24. All right, St. Catharines fell 0.6% in August, with 1676 being the 1-bedroom, and the 2 bedrooms fell 1.8%, being 1909 for the 2-bedroom.
Well, here's some. The average annual income in Niagara region varies by the metric used, but good estimates for the average individual salary in the city of Niagara Falls is about 44,000. Well, rounded up to $45,000. So 45,000. That's not a whole lot of loot, right? And St. Catharines, Niagara metropolitan area, the average household income before taxes is approximately $95,000. That's the whole household. That's two incomes at least, right? With
Two and
the
a half.
median,
Yeah.
well, the median has gone up, I see. So the median after tax household income, $69,000. That's not a whole lot of loot. So you're talking about a household income. You're looking at two people coming in after taxes, $69,000. Now you have to your rents are $2,000 a month. How much more money you got left to do what you need? What about your car payment? On and on. Are you going to be able to? When you go to a movie, you have to decide whether you're going to go to a movie, and when you get there, you can go to a movie as long as you don't buy popcorn.
Yeah,
those kind of decisions are being made. So I don't know. The rent's coming down. Yeah, that's a good thing. But when you have a range, when the average income for an individual is $45,000, I don't know. That's not a whole lot.
Yeah, not a whole lot at all. And it's good to see. And I said for some time, I had this argument when in early 2021 when rents were going up. I had this argument with Maria Recruit. I said I think the rents are going to come back down, not as much as they've gone up, but they will come back down. And she said they probably won't come down at all.
When did you have that discussion?
21, 22.
Well, she was right up until now, wasn't she? So they never did go down, and they kept going up.
No, I said I didn't say that. I didn't say an immediate things. I said that eventually it will come back down.
Well, there's always corrections. There's always mild corrections. Is this going to be a major correction, or I have a feeling that we're on a cusp for a significant reduction in rate.
I do see it continuing.
I have a feeling that there's an overcapacity out there right now, and I think the competition will bring the price down. I mean, when my youngest son got an apartment with his girlfriend, it was right at when it was a huge demand, and for $1,200, I remember this a few years ago now. And for $1,200, what they got, there was no elevator in the building. They had to walk up to the third floor, and they had a pipsqueak little apartment for $1,200. It was outrageous. That I believe that same apartment is probably around $1,000 now, but still.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, the prices are changing. Maybe now is the time you can get a deal. Maybe now is the time you can offer less and get.
I mean, if the average income is $45,000, and that's gross, I think. So if you take off your taxes and stuff, what else you got left?
Yeah.
And then you got to pay $1,500 a month. So what was you're looking at $16,000 a year just for rent.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Well, and we've kind of come to the end of our show there. Unless you got any more thoughts on this, we have something else about the second moon tomorrow. Well,
okay, we'll talk about that then. But anyway, I'd just like to talk about Gaza. It doesn't seem like it's working right now. As I said yesterday, the Israelis got really mad when a couple of their soldiers got killed, but it looks more and more now as if they drove over unexploded ordnance, their own ordnance, and it exploded. Hamas is saying they have really not a whole lot to do with the violence that's coming up now, despite the fact it's being. I watched Fox talk about it. They're so stupid. I can't believe it. there's lots of misinformation about that. It's going to be a lot of infighting, a lot of breakdown of authority, as we said earlier on, which people don't seem to note very much in the news. Every once in a while, that there were 7 different Islamic factions, and one of the things I want to do is talk about Hamas, how it works, and I put that in several days ago. We'll have to get around to it again, but the IDF, Netanyahu want to expel these Palestinians. Netanyahu, both Netanyahu and Putin have been caught on hot mics bragging about how they can control the United States, particularly in Netanyahu's case, particularly Trump. So I don't think it's going to go too well for the Gazans right now when the beloved leader there is so easily swayed by compliments and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm watching carefully. I hope this peace thing happens pretty quick, and they keep ignoring. They say the comments of Smotrich and Ben Gvir mean nothing when they blatantly say they want to expand and expel the Palestinians out of the West Bank and out of Gaza and put in settlements. Why is it your main finance minister and other ministers are meant to be ignored if they're in the government? And then just ignore what they're saying. Well, nobody's ignoring that. Anyway, without further ado, I bid you adieu. Let's pray for peace.
Yeah.